because it like hit a rock on the dirt road and then ricocheted up into the floor of the car. So I have a 2006 WRX, just Hawkeye Aspen White, and it's a car that I knew that I wanted from the age of like 12 or so from watching Gymkhana 1, I think. And through some series of miracles, I convinced a mother to actually like buy that car for me. I think it was because I explained it as a 4-door sedan with just a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, good on gas, great in insurance. Subarus are super safe. So that was my car, and it made it 6 months before I crashed it into a curb. While I was trying to repair it, I had a couple friends that I'd met in town that had Subarus. And so they came over to the garage and like helped me rebuild the car because the parts alone were like $1,100 and I couldn't necessarily pay for labor. So one of those friends that came over was a guy named Richard, who at the time had a 2015 red CVT WRX, which he got a lot of flack for it being CVT, but it didn't stop him from doing all sorts of things with it. He worked at the cell phone repair store. He ended up being the boss of this other guy that I'd already knew named Mark. And he didn't know a lot about cars at that point. So he just sort of sat back and watched and like asked questions that were pretty inquisitive, but like maybe didn't lead to the right answer. And so for whatever reason, I just sort of like gravitated more towards this dude Richard than the guy that I'd already known. And we started driving more, we hung out more. We always drove off-road because we both had stock Subarus that weren't particularly powerful, and we both like sliding. So the answer, obviously, when you have open differentials is dirt, because less friction, you can slide easier and with lower speed. I remember the first story of me getting stuck was we had found what is essentially those places that sell truckloads of dirt. And we were like driving around because the gate was open, and it was probably 11 o'clock at night and it was raining, and all of us in our brilliance were like, this is the perfect time to go. And it was going really well. It was really sandy, and I don't think there was a moment we weren't wheel spinning with the all-wheel drive cars until I said, hang on, I gotta go to the bathroom really quick. That looks like a good place over there. And so I like drove away from the loop that we had slowly carved into the dirt and like made it 3 feet before the car just like stopped and sank and beached itself. I remember like putting in first, going to red line, no movement, like turning the wheels, just like I completely covered the windshield, and all light from the storm and lightning had just gone completely black at that point. Couldn't see headlights, couldn't see my own hood scoop. It was just dirt over the windshield. And then I tried reverse, same thing happened, no movement. And reverse on a Subaru is really weird because it's a straight cut gear with no synchros, or at least on my gear it is. I was like in reverse trying it, and the point where I stopped trying it was when it kicked out. So like you just hear poof, and it just goes in neutral. And I just took that as maybe let's chill for a bit and not keep trying. And so I had to get back in his car, like walk through mud, lost one of my shoes like 2 different times in the 10 feet that it took to get back to his car. We drove to Walmart and came back, and it was, I think I took a picture at 2 in the morning at this point. And the picture that I took was mid lightning strike, which really just highlighted the brilliance of this entire situation. And he climbed through his trunk to attach a ratchet trap that we had just bought to his tow hook. And then I, who already had ruined shoes, didn't care necessarily about walking through the mud and attaching it to mine and then getting in the car. And it's like 2:30 in the morning. You just hear straight pipes FA20 WRX like floored into oblivion. And then my car, like as close to red line as I could get in reverse, just trying to like back out of this mud. And eventually we got out, and we had spun so much in the mud that like all the white plasti dip on my wheels had been like sanded off on the front side of the spokes, which led to my wheels being pink. So that was the first time we got stuck, and that was my fault. And then the second time we went out and something bad happened, we were on dry dirt roads and my exhaust broke in half, like at the mid pipe. There was apparently a hanger that had never been there while I owned the car that had already broken off at the welds. So then the resonator to the axle back, like the part that attaches to the axle back, the welds broke off-road, and it just started dragging along the ground. I didn't exactly know what had happened until I felt like a kick, because it like hit a rock on the dirt road and then ricocheted up into the floor of the car. And I was, that's wrong. And so we stopped and I realized it, and then I was up and down for a couple weeks. I don't think any of this really amounts to the time that Richard went on a date, because I was at our really small town car meet once, and he was supposed to meet me there because there was a pizza place, and that was just like our Thursday thing, was we'd have pizza at this car meet. And he was really late. And I remember there was a girl that had added me as a friend on Snapchat that I thought was someone else. And so I saw these stories and I got really confused as I slowly realized this wasn't who I thought it was. And then I saw the inside of Richard's car. And I was like, that. And then I saw the next snap was the inside of Richard's car with the caption, "You know you're screwed when the Subaru gets stuck," and then a wave of water cascading over his front right fender. I call Richard and I say, "Where are you at?" And he says, "Well, I don't really know. Somewhere in the National Forest, driving my new friend Bethany." So at some point, he realizes, probably after 15 minutes of trying to get out, that it is not worth the effort anymore. And he's got a little bit of water in the floor. And so it's time to call some help. And we both had iPhones, and he works at an iPhone repair place, like manages it. So he knew that there was Find My Friends and like the GPS service thing. So he shared location with me, and it was in just like in the map, it was just a gray area of nothing, like probably 5 miles from the closest end of a road. I just assumed that the service isn't very good. I was like, you must be in a place with really bad service because like it's not giving an accurate location. It doesn't say you're on a road. And he says, "Okay, well, I guess I think I remember how I got here. You should probably just come drive and like try to find me." And I was, this sounds like this is going to go really well. So I luckily have the foresight to realize that would not have worked at all. And there were two guys in like lifted trucks at the meet. New friends, hello, please help. My friend has gotten a Subaru stuck in a pond. And they agree to help. They get in their trucks, and I show them what the video looks like of a Snapchat, and they think they know roughly the area that he's at. So they go back there, and the Apalachicola National Forest, like as far as in Tallahassee and Wakulla, there's a lot of branches. Like there's more of the forest than there are like people in towns and buildings and things like that. So like there's plenty of land to comb through to find your lost friend in a pond with his date. So we start on the first road, which was, it like started from a road in Tallahassee and it actually crossed over the county line. And so we're on this like super wide clay fire road that we usually would slide around on. And that eventually leads to like the sort of 2 lanes with grass in the middle type of road. And then that had like offshoots into like different forks. And then there was like this big middle part where it was a giant gravel open section with like 4 different options. It was great. And so I called him again because he had enough service to be on a call. And I said, "Do you remember which road you took?" And he says, "No." Awesome. This cannot go better. So we just selectively like go down, try process of elimination. And then the guys like asked to look at the video again, and I pull it up and they look at it and they're like, that's a really narrow road. Like that doesn't look like, I can't quite remember seeing that whenever we drive. So we just kind of keep stumbling through the forest until eventually I check my GPS location and I see, because his is bouncing around, like, which is how you can tell there's not enough service because it's just trying to guess. But it was still probably a 3-mile tolerance, which isn't super helpful. But we just got like generally close enough that I had the idea where I would call Richard and I would tell him, because he had straight pipe car with TGV deletes, and it was like really loud. And I would just tell him, "Hey, rev your car really loudly in like 10 seconds. And in those 10 seconds, I get the 2 guys with trucks to turn their stuff off. I would turn my car off. We'd all get out and then we'd just stand. And I'd hear it over the phone and then I'd hear it in the forest. And so we'd just try and look for where the sound came from and then go in the general direction of that sound. And then like there were plenty of times where the sound was perpendicular to the 2 options on the road, which wasn't very helpful. But after like an hour of 15 minutes of driving, turn off all the cars, call Richard, rev through the forest. 15 more minutes of driving, turn off all the cars, call Richard, rev through the forest. We found him and found out that the reason he wasn't showing up on the map outside of the bad service, but the reason he was so far away from any roads was because he was on an ATV trail, which like in Florida, or at least in like Leon County, that's like a $500 fine for being on the ATV trail, much less like digging it up by getting yourself stuck in a pond. We get to the end and then we realize that I'm in front of the 2 trucks and I don't have a tow hitch on the front. And so now we have to back the convoy out through this ATV trail to find somewhere wide enough to execute a 3-point turn, which turned into like more of a 30-point turn. And then one of the trucks got in front and then we realized we didn't have any tow straps. So they're like looking through everything they might have. We tried like 10 bungee cords at a time, which in retrospect, doesn't strike me as the smartest option. And then we found something that looked like a tow strap, but not for cars, obviously. So the hook just bent straight. And then I think they tied the strap of that to it. And then that's how we actually got him out, with him like floored in reverse. I think I was hearing sounds of the rope like stressing and like about to snap. So it was kind of a make or break moment where we either get out of this or good luck, and maybe we'll take Bethany with us, but Richard, you have to live with the consequences of your mistakes. That was, I thought, enough to scar him from life for water, because how he'd done it was to test to see if he could go through it, and he just like slid off a log, and that was how he got stuck. But since then, he's actually done it 2 more times, one to which was so deep that it killed his power steering, and there was like a water line up to his door speakers. So obviously there is no essence of having learned anything in Richard.
Are you looking to buy your dream car? Premier Financial Services offers the flexibility of financing with the tax benefits of leasing. The PFS Simple Lease offers quick approvals and easy termination when you are ready for the next car. Visit our website and follow us for more.